Hello, my most amazing artists. How are you today? So today I am talking to my 2G scholars, and I just want you to know that I really miss you. Don't tell anyone else, but 2G is one of my favorite grades to teach. You guys were all so well behaved, and I really loved when you would come to my art room. So today we are going to learn a little bit more about Vincent van Gogh. We talked about him when you drew the picture of an iris. I also want you to notice that if you haven't listened to me reading this book from the website, this would be a great one to listen to this week. Vincent van Gogh was one of the most tragic artists who ever lived. Nothing ever seemed to go right for him, and he wasn't very happy. He never even smiled in his self-portraits. Van Gogh's first paintings were also of poor people he had been helping. In this painting, the family was so poor that they had only a few potatoes to eat for dinner. The colors in Van Gogh's early paintings were dark and sad. Van Gogh thought Arles would be a great place for artists to get together to paint and talk about their different ideas. He tried very hard to get as many artists as he could to join him. The only one to try it out was Paul Gauguin, although he wasn't really crazy about the idea. It turned out to be a big mistake. They argued a lot. Finally, after a very bad argument, Gauguin decided to leave Van Gogh and return to Paris. Van Gogh didn't know what to do. He really wanted things to work out well with Gauguin. Van Gogh had always had problems during his life with the way he felt. Sometimes he would get so angry and upset that no one could make him feel better. This time he became so angry and upset that he accidentally cut off part of his ear. Sometimes he was too angry to paint, and sometimes he was too sad to paint. When he felt good, he painted better than ever. He made the stars in the starry night seem like they're really shining. The trees in this painting look like flames, and it feels like the whole picture is moving. In this painting, Van Gogh made the sun look really hot. You almost feel like you should put sunglasses on to look at it. This is the one that's hanging in the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. Van Gogh usually put his paint on very thick. Sometimes he painted so fast that he didn't even mix his colors. He used paint right out of the tube. Van Gogh used so much paint, he was always running out. Sometimes he stopped buying food in order to buy more paint. So he was hungry a lot of the time, and he wasn't healthy. Hardly anyone was interested in Van Gogh's work while he was alive. He sold only a few paintings. Today things are different. People have learned how beautiful his art is, and now his paintings are some of the most popular in the world. This one is done in a monochromatic style. Monochromatic. Mono means one, chrome means color. It means he mostly used one color and shades of that color. So clearly, in this case, that is a yellow. That is a yellow. All right, so let's see if we can look close up. One of the things Vincent van Gogh is well known for is how he used a lot of paint, and he put the paint on nice and thick so that in his actual paintings you can see the brush strokes and the thick globs of paint. So as you can see around here, the shiny parts are those piles of paint that have dried in a very rough texture. I love that about his artwork. Nice and thick paint. Now I want to show you another picture of sunflowers he did. This one is great because it has this beautiful blue background. It makes those sunflowers just pop with color. You can see here again that there's this signature Vincent right there. And I want you to notice again that he just drew a simple line in the back of his picture to show the table from the wall. And we will be doing that in our artwork today as well. And then one more. This one also is of sunflowers, and I can't zoom in on this one, but you can really see, like up here, how thick that paint is. All of these brush strokes are just gobs of paint. So I'm going to help you draw the cube and the sphere in your packet in case that is something you want to draw. Of course, you totally have the option of setting something up at your house on the table, picking a couple of objects and drawing them. That's called a still life. But I am going to lead you through the one that I included in the packet. So if you want to do step by step with me, don't forget you can always pause the video to do what I show you. All right, the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to mark off a few spots so that I can make sure my picture is big enough. I want to have the bottom of my sphere almost touching the bottom of the paper. So I'm just going to put a little curve right here. I'm going to notice that the cube is going to have a very tall straight line coming down here. And then I want to make sure it goes this way and this way. So make sure you try to get those angles correct. All right, now I'm going to do the cube first, so I'm just going to keep going with that. All right, I'm going to notice that over here, there's a line that comes down vertically, but it doesn't come down as far as this line came down. This is lower and this one is higher. That's what I mean when I say you have to look and draw what you actually see, not what you think you see. We know on a cube that those are the same length, but when you're looking at it in real life, you see a perspective that makes it look shorter over here. So I'm going to draw that as a diagonal line. Then I'm going to go up to the top of my cube, and I'm going to notice that there is another corner back here. So I'm just going to put a dot there, and I'm going to connect my two lines. So this one is going to connect to this corner, and this one is going to connect over here. Now you could use a ruler to make these really extra straight if you want to, but I'm just doing a quick sketch. All right, then there's another side to this cube that I can see, and it comes straight down here in a vertical line, but it doesn't go all the way down because the sphere covers part of it. All right, now I'm going to finish the sphere. I'm going to just make a sketchy circle. Now circles are really hard to make them look perfect, so that's why I'm doing these small little sketchy lines. So when I have a part that looks kind of crooked, I can erase it easily and try it again. So I'm going to make that a little bit rounder and make sure that it's big enough so that it looks like the sphere in the photo. All right, now I need to finish one more line on my cube. It looks like it's I'm just imagining where this corner would be, and I'm gonna draw this right there. Okay, now we have to look at the shading and the shadows. Now in the photograph, there isn't really a clear line where the wall and the table are separated, so I'm just gonna have you draw one in. So like Vincent van Gogh did. So up here above the circle, I want you to draw a horizontal line, skip over the cube, but pretend it keeps going so you know where to come out on the other side. And this will be the wall, and this will be the table. Okay, and then we need to draw a shadow coming off here. So the shadow line, as you can see in the photo, comes right off the side of the sphere here. And we're just gonna have it go off the page. And then over here, it's gonna come this way. And then the one for the cube actually is gonna have to bend up. Like you can kind of see it in the picture there, how it bends up. So we're gonna just go up a little bit onto the wall and come across. All right, and then I think we're ready to shade. Oh, there's a little shadow right here. All right, so look at the cube. Which side is the darkest? If you notice from the picture, it's this side. So I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna lean my pencil on its side, and I'm going to, first of all, color around the edges so that I can make sure I'm not gonna go outside of the lines. And it's okay if you have to kind of turn or shift the direction that you're coloring in there. But then once you start coloring in the middle, you should color all in the same direction. Once you have that filled in, you should blend it together. Now you can use a Q-tip to blend it, or you can use your finger to blend it, or if you have some awesome art supplies at your house, you might have this cool thing. It's a blending stump made out of paper, and this is my favorite tool to blend with. So if you don't have that, that's okay. Just use your finger. That works good too. It just makes it look more like a fuzzy shadow instead of scribbly lines. Okay, then the lightest part of the cube is the top. So I'm barely gonna put any color up there at all. In fact, I might just take my dirty finger and rub that on the top. You don't even have to use your pencil. And then this one is the medium side. So just color that really lightly. If it looks too scribbly, you have to kind of go over it again. And then you need to blend it. So I'm gonna use my blending stump again. So with a cube, when you're shading it correctly, you'll see a light side, a medium side, and a dark side. Okay, now there's a shadow right under here that's super dark. So I'm gonna color that as hard as I can press with my pencil. Right there. Okay, now look at the sphere. There is a bright highlight right here. Now we know in real life that that sphere is all the same color. It's just this wood color. But we know in real life, light and shadow changes the values of the colors that you see. It makes some of them darker and some spots lighter. I was looking at my silver faucet in my bathroom today, and I was noticing how many different shades of like this gray color I could see, and it was bright white on some parts where it was reflecting the light, and it was almost black in the shadowy parts. I thought that might be fun to draw someday. Okay, so I want you to color in a curved direction, so it goes along with the curving shape of the sphere, and I want you to color darkest on this side right here. And then I want you to kind of color lightly over on this side. And I want you to leave a big white spot right in the middle. Okay, make sure you use that curved direction to color. Then you'll need to blend that all together. Again, you can use your finger or a Q-tip or a blending stump. Okay, then the last thing we need to do is the shadows back here. So I'm just gonna use the dirty blending stump. You could use your dirty finger. If you need to, you can add some pencil to that to make it a little darker, and just blend that together. And then do the same thing for the shadow of the cube. Now, this is probably one of the first times as 2G scholars that you have looked at something and drawn it with shadows and shading. So if yours isn't turning out exactly like mine, that's totally okay. We're just practicing. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. But man, once you start getting the hang of how to use shading in your artwork, you're gonna love how it makes it look more realistic. Okay, now I did say that you also needed to sign your name on it like Vincent van Gogh did, like right on one of the objects. So you could put it wherever you want, but I'm gonna put mine where I can see it on the bottom of this cube. And I am gonna sign in cursive, but if you haven't learned cursive yet, that's okay. You can sign your name however you want.